Can my new spouse adopt my child or my children? In other words, we're talking about step parent adoption. Okay, that's the sort of the FAQ I'm going to spend 5 minutes on. Yes, a non-biological parent who's the new spouse or the new significant other can adopt your child. Let me dig into kind of some bullets and describe when, why, how, what the picture is, so you might know if this is a situation that you might utilize. Okay, so what is it? What's the real world? The real world is simply you have a couple, right? Let's say they're a married, secure couple, married for 5 years, and simply one of the partners in that marriage, that relationship, has a child who has a different parent, who has a different, let's just say, father, right? So mom, wife is the biological parent of this child, but then the husband is not. He's the stepdad, and there's another guy out there who's the biological or the legal father of that child, right? That's the real world picture that I'm talking about. The what is it? Okay. Now, who's it good for, right? That picture needs to exist, but then the other nugget that needs to exist beyond just that picture is the parent that's not part of the marriage, right? Let's just say there's a guy who's the father of your child, who you're no longer in a relationship, who you're no longer married to, right? There's a new stepdad in the picture. But the biological father is basically missing in action. He's not involved in the child's life. He's not supporting the child financially. And maybe even more severe. Maybe there's been criminal behavior. Maybe somebody's imprisoned. I'm going to go a little bit more into that, but that's the picture. It's right. You have a new relationship where there's a step parent, and then on the other side of the fence, the other legal parent of this child is basically not in this kid's life at all. So that's the real world that needs to exist. In other words, to put and use, those are the sorts of facts I would need as an attorney to support a legal step-parent adoption. Now, why do a step-parent adoption? Well, I would emphasize basically for the security that it brings, okay? The reason why you want to do it is because the parent who is MIA, even though let's just say it's the guy, even though this guy, this father is MIA, the reality is he is still the legal parent, and he still has every right to basically jump in and out of your kid's life whenever he wants to, in terms of, demanding visitation, demanding, attendance at family events, at school events, sporting events. And that can be really anxiety inducing for you as parents, as a new family unit, and particularly for a kid, right? You never see your dad, and now boom, he's demanding to start seeing you every other weekend after you haven't seen him for 5 years. So rather than, always kind of looking over your shoulder, being concerned that, this missing in action parent is going to pop back in and out of a kid's life, why not basically remove that other parent from your child's life and create the security that an adoption provides? Because now, right, you and your new spouse, the former step parent, is now not the step parent. He is now the legal parent just as much as you are. That's why you want to do it. The security that it brings with regards to protecting your kid, with regard to protecting the new family unit, and with regard to freezing out this other parent who's probably doing no good for you and for your child. That's the why, the security it brings. Now, very briefly, let me discuss when and how is this possible. Now, I don't want to go too deep on the facts of it because I talked about the general picture that needs to exist. Basically, you need the other parent to be somebody who's not very involved in the other in your child's life anymore. You know, even though whatever, at one point you were in a relationship, at one point at least you had sexual relations whereby, you know, a child was produced, but that parent is no longer in the picture. Now, it's basically this picture, and the big point is you need to have the facts to find that parent to be an unfit parent, because that's what terminates, that's what legally allows me as an attorney in a court, frankly a judge, to terminate that other parent's parental rights. And let me just jump through a few little nuggets, and you'd be surprised. There are a lot of things that are a lot easier and less severe than you might think, right? The law has some of your really dark and severe things, right? A lot of the physical abuse and neglect of children, some very severe criminal stuff are bases for it. You know, habitual drunkenness and drug use. But much more mild situations like just simply not paying child support consistently, deserting or being out of a child's life for 12 months or more, things like that are simply all you need to prove that this other parent is fit, and then to be able to move forward with terminating that parent's parental rights. Then basically the second part of the legal part piece is, right, step one is you prove the unfitness of that other parent. And then step two is basically proving that it's now in the best interest of your child that, you know, you as the biological mom, let's say, and now your new husband, it's in little Johnny's best interest that you two now be allowed to adopt this child. And frankly, you're not going to bring that case if, you know, if your new spouse is not a capable and good parent. So that's the picture. Do you see it? So can your new spouse adopt your child or children? The answer is yes, and if that's your real world picture, consider it strongly, because it's an easier case than you think, and it really provides security and peace of mind for you and your child.